Welcome to
Lumen.
I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today because we're unpacking something that affects literally every single one of us, every single day, and usually we don't even notice it's happening. Have you ever had a moment where something strangely coincidental happens and you immediately think, "Ha, I knew it. I knew that was a real thing." We all carry around these little everyday superstitions or deeply held beliefs about how the world works. But what if I told you that your own brain is actively playing tricks on you, just to make you feel like you're always right? To really see how this works, let's imagine a classic scenario. Picture this. You're walking down the street, just minding your own business, and suddenly a black cat darts right across your path. You might pause, maybe you feel a tiny prickle of superstition, but you brush it off and keep walking. 10 minutes later, you accidentally drop your phone on the sidewalk, and the screen just shatters into a million pieces. What is the very first thought that pops into your head? See, I was right. That black cat did bring me bad luck. Your brain instantly, effortlessly connects that cat to your cracked screen. Okay, let's dive into this, because this right here is exactly where the mental trap snaps shut. Notice how we heavily weight the times our superstition is actually validated. You're gonna remember that broken phone and that black cat for years. You might even tell the story at dinner parties. But what about all the other times a black cat crossed your path and your day went perfectly fine? You forget them completely. They literally vanish from your memory because nothing bad happened. Your brain just selectively deleted the evidence that didn't fit your superstition. Section 1. What is confirmation bias? So this selective memory, this highly tuned filter in your brain, it's not just a quirky personal habit. It's actually a deeply studied, well-documented psychological phenomenon called confirmation bias. It is an invisible force that shapes how we perceive reality itself. Let's look closely at the definition here because every single word matters. It's the tendency to search for, notice, remember, and believe information that supports what you already think while ignoring or explaining away information that contradicts your beliefs. Notice how active those verbs are. Search, notice, remember. Confirmation bias isn't just accidentally stumbling onto agreeing information. It's your brain actively going out of its way to find things that prove you right, while simultaneously putting on a blindfold when evidence contradicts your pre-existing worldview. Let's look at how this builds historically, because we've known about this for quite some time. The concept of confirmation bias is a bedrock principle in psychology. It's been studied extensively since the 1960s, pioneered by the brilliant cognitive psychologist Peter Wasson. Then, it gained massive mainstream recognition in 2011 when the Nobel laureate Daniel Kahneman discussed it in his groundbreaking book, Thinking, Fast and Slow. From Wasson's early experiments to Kahneman's modern analysis, the scientific consensus is completely clear on this. This is a deeply ingrained human trait. It affects our daily decisions today just as much as it did decades ago. Section 2. The bias in everyday life. Now, you might be wondering, all right, I understand the black cat example, but I don't really believe in superstitions, so I'm immune to this, right? Well, not quite. Let's shift our focus to your daily routine, because I promise you, this bias is subtly infecting almost every aspect of your life. Let's start with the most obvious modern example, social media. Who do you follow online? Chances are you follow politicians, commentators, and influencers who already share your opinions. When you open your feed, you're instantly greeted by a barrage of people telling you that you are absolutely correct about how the world works. And what happens? Your original beliefs become stronger and more entrenched, while opposing views are completely filtered out of your digital ecosystem. You've basically built yourself a perfectly customized echo chamber. Now, what's really interesting here is how confirmation bias hijacks our emotional attachments, especially in sports. Think about being a passionate fan. When the referee makes a borderline call against your team, it is the worst, most unfair injustice in the history of the sport. You notice it, you scream about it, you remember it for weeks. But when that exact same borderline call goes in favor of your team, you either think it's perfectly fair or you barely notice it at all. The referee is only blind when the evidence goes against what you want to believe. But it gets significantly more serious when we look at our personal relationships. Let's say you've hit a rough patch with a friend, a coworker, or a romantic partner, and you've started to form the belief that they are fundamentally a rude person. Once that belief is planted, confirmation bias kicks in hard. Your brain will start highlighting every single minor offense, a short text, a heavy sigh, a distracted glance, as absolute undeniable proof of their rudeness. Meanwhile, it completely blinds you to the times they make you coffee, ask about your day, or do something genuinely kind. It acts as a toxic filter that can literally ruin relationships. And we see this exact same pattern in our health choices too. Someone who deeply believes a certain trendy diet is the ultimate cure-all will aggressively seek out and pay attention to anecdotal success stories online. They'll watch every single video of someone claiming it changed their life, but they will completely ignore or try to explain away rigorous, peer-reviewed scientific studies showing that the diet has little to no actual benefit. The personal belief just completely overrides the objective data.
Section 3. Why our brains do it.
At this point, it's pretty easy to feel a little frustrated with ourselves. But I want to pause and reassure you. You aren't foolish. If you fall victim to this, and trust me, we all do, it's not a sign of low intelligence. Your brain is simply operating like a slightly lazy, highly efficient machine. The truth is quite simple. Your brain likes consistency. The world is a chaotic, overwhelmingly complex place. To survive it without burning out, your brain desperately wants things to make sense and stay predictable. It craves a stable, consistent narrative about reality. So the crucial point is this fundamental trade-off happening inside your head. Accepting information that agrees with your pre-existing beliefs is easy. It saves a massive amount of mental effort. It feels smooth and validating. Changing your mind, on the other hand, is hard work. It requires you to admit you were wrong, restructure your entire understanding, and process new, conflicting data. Your brain defaults to the shortcut, to save energy. But, and this is a massive but, while this saves mental effort in the short term, this cognitive shortcut ultimately leads to poor decision-making over the long term. Section 4. How to break the cycle. Now for the good news. You are not a prisoner to your brain's lazy habits. Because you're now aware of how confirmation bias works, you have the power to break the cycle. We can transition from understanding the problem to implementing an actionable framework to outsmart our own neurology, and this brilliantly illustrates exactly how to do it. Here are the steps you can take starting today. Step 1. Actively read opinions from trustworthy sources that disagree with you. And I mean trustworthy. Don't just look for crazy outliers to mock. Find smart, credible people who hold a different view and genuinely try to understand their logic. Step 2. Judge the quality of the evidence, not just whether it supports your view. Are you accepting a flimsy anecdote just because it proves you right, while demanding a mountain of scientific data from the other side? You've got to level the playing field. Step 3. Be willing to actually change your mind when strong evidence appears. Treat changing your mind as a victory of learning, not a defeat of your ego. To tie all of this together, I want to leave you with a single, powerful tool. Whenever you find yourself absolutely certain about something, whether it's a political stance, a heated sports argument, or a judgment about a friend, stop and ask yourself this one vital question. What evidence would prove me wrong? If you honestly can't think of anything that would change your mind, you aren't thinking objectively. You are trapped in confirmation bias. Make this question a daily habit, and you will fundamentally master the way you think. Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer, and I absolutely can't wait to dive into our next topic with you.